Are we going? Is this thing on?
We're going, baby. We're
What
on.
are you doing?
I'm talking to you, Liz. After
Poorly.
a big break.
Oh my god. It has been a
listen,
big break.
It's been a big break, yeah. You learned anything during this break?
During our big break?
During our big break, yeah.
Did I learn anything? I don't think so. I kind of like turned my brain off.
Yeah.
I turned my
get
brain
that.
off. I turned my Twitter off.
Uh-huh.
I was like in the holiday spirit.
Sounds delightful.
It was delightful. And now it's 2021, baby. That doesn't
here.
feel right. It doesn't
We've-
ring off.
I've
It doesn't
busted
like
in.
roll off the tongue very well.
Oh, it
2021.
rolls. It rolls. I've been chewing it around in my mouth. I love it. 2021.
Why do you love it?
I'm just it's the year of brace.
I think you would say that about every year.
I'm doing it. Mandalay Bay 2.
Oh my god, don't say that.
Okay.
We should probably cut that.
No, I'm opening up. I've been meeting with Sheldon, and I'm opening up a second Mandalay Bay casino. This one in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, because people know the name, but it's sort of faded why they know it. So they see it, and they're like, oh, Mandalay Bay. I know that. I trust it. I'll stay there. In the paddock suite.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Come in. Jeffrey Epstein.
Liz, I've been practicing while we've been gone. You say you've been letting your mind rest, but I've been practicing.
Practicing for what?
The male gaze.
What?
Yeah.
What does that even
I've gotten
mean?
so good at look at this. You fucking see that? Uh-huh. Yeah, it felt a little uncomfortable,
That's more of like
didn't
a
it?
Care Bear stare
Felt well,
than a male
it's-
gaze.
I'm said I'm working on it. Look.
Okay.
You like that? Yeah. Made you feel that skin got a little tingly. Don't like
Yeah.
that, do you? Yeah,
No.
gotta back away.
That's like, I want to take that male gaze and throw it back at you.
I've been studying the traditional art of the Italian Malagasy, and it's been, I was at the monastery for a little bit. I was training in Rome too, at the Vatican, and now I'm back. I'm in America, and I'm about to change a lot of N+1 writers' lives. And by change, I mean end.
And +1.
End plus, exactly, because I'm killing your partner too. Welcome to TrueAnon.
Welcome back, everyone. Hello. Hi, Brace.
Hi. Hey, Liz. How you doing, sweetheart?
Why did that sound like a threat?
I've had a new recurring dream I'll tell you about after this, but definitely should not. Yeah, okay. Well, we don't have to cut that, but let's move on from that. I'm Brace.
Hi, I'm Liz. I'm a little concerned about what Brace just said.
We are joined by producer Young Chomsky. So the dream is I am sitting in the back of a car and I shoot someone in the head, and I had it 4 nights in a row. Different people every time, but no one I knew.
What?
I take this medication, trazodone, to help
my
me
God.
sleep, and it gives me nightmares so I can talk to my analyst about them because it's the Jungian thing. And I haven't met with her in a couple of weeks, and I'm meeting with her tomorrow, and really got a lot of, well, not a lot.
Do
it's
you
just
keep
the
a
one
dream journal?
I write it in my phone, yeah, on the little notes app.
Interesting. Yes.
Those keystrokes, by the way, are absolutely logged because I say a lot of I don't have great dreams. But we're back.
We are back. We took a little break. Well, now for us, it felt like very long time.
Yes,
because
it
we
did.
were quite savvy with our recording schedule.
Oh, yeah.
But for our dear listeners, it probably didn't feel as long. Hopefully.
Well, people don't know that we actually record every episode 3 months in advance, and we
yes.
do it's like a season thing. So we're actually right now, you're in 2021. We're actually still back in October of 2020.
Yeah, we just took 2 months off.
And Mr. Bean will never be in the news again.
Wonder who's going to win the election.
Yeah, and I'll never drink a gallon of pee on a dare.
What?
Yeah. I'll never do that on New Year's Eve.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, a lot of actually a bunch of stuff happened while we were gone, which I
Yes.
was not expecting. It's sort of like, one of those things where I think normally assumed that since I was on vacation, the entire world would also be on vacation. Not
I
so.
mean, it's like nobody's working anyways. How come there's still stuff happening? And it's the holidays?
Yeah. There's the thing too where it's like the week between Christmas and New Year's just feels like a complete and total time suck.
I know. I actually despise the holidays because of
Really?
that. Yeah, I don't like them. But yeah, no, it feels like you're lost in time. Like nothing can happen.
Yeah. It's like this like liminal space where you're just kind of waiting for New Year's to happen, and then suddenly it's like, okay, we're back, let's go.
You say liminal one more time, I'm putting you on my fucking N+1 list. One thing is, I think we should maybe give this a little bit of space, hold some space for this, do a little acknowledgement, is that Julian Assange has he's not being extradited.
Yes, that was actually really surprising. That happened. Wait, was that this morning or yesterday morning?
That was yesterday. They don't know when we're recording this. Yeah, this just happened. And we're in England.
I was actually, yeah. I saw that. I was in bed and I was like, whoa, what? That's crazy. And then I read, actually the judge's remarks. Pretty funny because she was like, yeah, actually, Assange, he's guilty of everything.
Yes, yeah.
Didn't care very much for any of the defense's arguments, except for that she said he may be guilty, but we can't send him to the U.S. because the prison conditions are so bad.
Absolutely. And there's actually some analogs of this in my own life because I've had a lot of girls be like, you have to stop staying at my house. I hate you. I despise you. But I'm like, but you see my apartment. Like, it sucks. And they're like, yeah, you can stay here for another 4 years. But yeah, they said that he is so psychotically depressed that there is absolutely no way that the U.S. can guarantee he won't kill himself.
Yes.
So they're just going to have him kill himself in the UK prison where he's going to be held probably for the next 2 years, awaiting the appeal.
Yeah, I think funny enough, she actually cited Jeffrey Epstein, if
Yeah.
I'm correct, in the judgment, saying that even Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, which was the first time, of course, as our listeners know, in 20 years in the MCC. So Assange, they couldn't trust the U.S. Penal system and the prison system, to take care of him.
Yeah, and it's sort of an interesting read is her ruling or whatever. But like Liz said, she's like, this guy's definitely guilty. And these are not like, one of the big things that we talked about during our episode on it was that this was a political crime that he was being extradited for, which is in contravenes. I don't know how to say contravention. It goes against the fucking extradition treaty that the UK has with the US. She's like, these are not political crimes. Get his ass out of here. However, he's depressed. So I think what I think is going to happen, and there's a new bail hearing. I think today it starts. I don't really know. I doubt he's going to get bail. But I do not doubt that if he is kept in prison in the UK, he will be tortured by our cousins over there.
Across the pond. Yeah,
Across
no,
the
and,
pond.
we should say, obviously the U.S. immediately, filed an appeal.
Yes.
I think it's funny because, you mentioned that she said, oh, he's totally guilty of all these crimes and it's not political. Like, she really focused on the hacking thing, which we covered, again, extensively on the Assange episode, which is to say that she, like, totally, whatever. She's a terrible judge. The whole thing was a fucking farce, as we, talked about, like, from the beginning, a total farce. And so many things, so many, like, defense witnesses weren't able to come and give testimony, et cetera, et cetera. But she totally, the whole thing she said is that it's non-political because this is he hacked into it.
Yeah.
And really latching onto the kind of like bizarro technical argument that's like kind of a workaround to the whole thing. So yeah, remains to be seen. She kind of like made a gesture towards the Brits just filing their own charges against him there to prosecute him in the UK. So here's hoping that doesn't happen. I don't know. But all in all, was a bit surprising. And I think there was like someone reported on how Assange's lawyers were basically like, well, it wasn't the worst thing that could have happened. So pretty good so far. We'll see what happens there.
Well, I'm sure that we'll get around to that again when we do our R.I.P. Julian Assange episode in a few months when they forced him to kill himself in prison in the UK. But now to talk about something near and dear to my heart. A car bomb. In the country music capital of the world. Liz, when I used to go on tour with Gene, and, we'd be out there with our dueling twangs of twanging guitars. Banjo stuff, yeah. We played
Ragtime.
And, of course, we played a little kind of music. It's a little down-home kind of music called slur that didn't really make it up north.
What is
I don't really got to get into it.
It's like
but
a white
yeah.
boy blues.
Yeah, it's like the first part of that, for sure. And we say that word a lot, definitely. But yeah, and a lot of you guys know that I'm in the Country Music Hall of Fame due to shoplifting from there a lot, and I was trying to get slur recognized as a genre, and I've talked a lot about car bombs.
So I don't know. I'm sure everyone is aware of this. On Christmas Day, there was a big car bomb that went off.
You might say everyone's aware of this, but this thing I gotta say, this was like a big thing for like 2 days, but it got liminal spaced because it happened on Christmas. Everyone's like, it's fine.
Yeah, it kind of just like whoop, came and went, just like the bomb itself, which we'll get into. But yeah, so there was, I think it was like 5:30 a.m. local time, Nashville,
Yes.
Tennessee, Christmas morning, December 25th. Also the birthday of one Miss Ghislaine Maxwell. Throwing that out there.
And also, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no relation. Yeah, so 5:30 a.m. downtown Nashville, so-called Arts District. Here's my thing. Well, hold on. Can we pause for a second?
Oh yeah, give it to me, sweetheart. I know what you're about to say.
Why does every town have they can't just say like this is the Arts District? It's like they just pick a block where there's a bunch of brick buildings and they go, hey, here's the Arts District. It's like, that's not an Arts District.
I'll tell you what. I went to both the Arts District in Atlanta, Georgia, and in Columbus, Ohio. Same district. Same
it's
district.
just a bunch of brick buildings.
Here's what they do is I think I've complained about this on the fucking podcast before, but what they do is they get this big ass cavernous building, and then they get all these little fucking vendors. They're like, oh, you want like a bread bowl? I hate a vendor. You want a bread bowl? Oh, you want a lobster BLT or whatever?
Yeah. Hey, we made a taco out of anything you want.
Yeah,
like,
hey, check
not
it out.
everything
I'm
should
Korean.
be in a taco.
He's Mexican. Fucking, we're married to another guy, to a Chinese guy too, and we make Italian food. It's fucking insane. And the spice shops.
How does
paprika.
anyone think this is just fusion food? By the way, it's just fusion. It's like the 90s. We haven't moved on.
Yeah, and what is paprika?
No, that one's fine.
What is it, though?
It's a spice, baby.
Okay, all right. Well, that clears a lot of things up for me. But yeah, so I know a lot of people out there. We get thousands of emails per day being like, I am thinking of driving a vehicle-borne IED into the Arts District in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And I'm always like, my brother, please do not do that. Rick to Life of the band 25 to Life lives in Altoona, I think. And that could possibly harm him because he could possibly be working at the paprika store there. But apparently we did miss one email. And so 5:30 a.m., just like Liz says, there's this recording of gunshots, right?
Yeah. So, okay. So we've got an RV parked downtown Arts District, Nashville, Tennessee, blaring what sounds like gunshots for about an hour, by the way.
This
tape
is the
goes on.
CIA fireworks psyop.
Yeah.
Advanced.
It's not just fire, or it's not just gunshots too. It's also warnings. There's like an automated like computer lady voice
Yes.
that's like, this RV will explode in 5 minutes.
I was
In
going to say, it sounded like you.
10 minutes. Look, I'll just say I didn't take that job. It wasn't me.
Okay. Because I know that you were doing Fiverr stuff over break, and so
Yeah,
I
sure.
was worried that could have been you. Yeah, so yeah, he's got these gunshots, and apparently the gunshots, this is sort of what the after analysis is of it, or I guess the analysis of it is, that other people are saying. So the gunshots were to draw police in, and once, they were in there, which, loud gunshots, or probably loud anything played at, 5:30 in the morning on Christmas morning, will bring... He starts saying, "Oh, we got a bomb in the truck, and the cops will get people out of there."
Yeah.
That seems to be mostly what happened, because they come and sort of search the area. They see a white RV, and they're like, "Holy fuck, dude! It's like Breaking Bad." And they start taking pictures next to it, and they're like, I don't know any
Walter
Breaking
White,
Bad. I've
guy in
never
the hat.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I never did. None of those shows. Sopranos,
It's-
Breaking Bad, none.
Don't put Sopranos in that. Sopranos is in a different tier.
I tried to watch the first episode of Sopranos because I'm like, oh, this is like stuff that people do podcasts like. And I was like, it didn't do much for me.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah, just did
You should get
Caligula
into
again.
it.
No,
I think you should get into it.
I just do Caligula.
I think you would get into it because you're, a man of, you like the psychology.
I do love psychology. That guy's just a little too big for me. I'm like, what are you doing?
He's
I
a
could
big
outrun
boy.
you.
Yeah. R.I.P.
So, yeah, the messages go, there's a large bomb in this vehicle, and all buildings must be evacuated. I don't want to do it. I'm doing like a gruff voice.
Yeah, no,
because-
it's lady voice. Let me do it.
Yeah, okay.
All buildings must be evacuated in 5 minutes.
And it starts playing parts of the song Downtown by Petula Clark. Petula? Why did I pronounce it like that?
Here's my thing.
Never said the word
No
before.
one knew her name. Everyone knows the
Petula?
song. Didn't know her name.
Petulare. Here's the thing. I had actually read an analysis in the Washington Post sort of national security section of the paper where they said that there was a real risk that he could have played Townes Van Zandt, Lefty and Poncho, and it would have actually driven every woman in America there.
Yeah.
But driven every man in America away from it because Townes Van Zandt's
Yeah.
for girls.
Yeah, Towns is actually famously the female MK Ultra trigger. Mm-hmm. Where it's just like
Exactly,
it awakens the kind
Yes.
of the sleeper cell within all females.
I used to have like a few records that I had when like girls came over because I got lots of records, but there was like a few that you gotta play.
Yeah.
One of them,
It's
of
always
course,
Towns.
Towns.
Yeah,
You got,
sure.
and they see that you got the old one too, and they're like, "Oh, he didn't even get the reissue, man. He's been digging in the bins because he wants to convince me to have sex with him due to putting on a record." Anyways, so Downtown, which I will sing part of now, the song goes, Downtown.
No, it doesn't.
Downtown.
What?
Where, I don't know, is it that?
No, that's not it at all.
Downtown. Am I doing the pitch wrong?
No. Downtown.
When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown.
Like that.
I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just kidding, by the way. This is a joke. I want to preface this with I will never do this. Liz, I'm going to do a car bomb with you're just splicing the recordings from this episode of you talking.
And with the automated voice.
Yes.
Look,
yes.
we can make, by the way, for people out there, hopefully none of our listeners, because you guys are very cool. All the people listening going, "Oh, this is like in poor taste." I mean, this was a bomb. Look, no one died. Well, except for the bomber.
The guy. But he
We'll get into
wanted
that.
to die.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I'm just saying that, we can joke.
After,
It's 2021.
I'll be real with you. I am probably one of the few people involved in podcasting who has seen a car bomb. They're fucking wild, man. They blow up. It's like crazy. You get hit by the sound thing a little bit. There's a guy driving them, and you're like, holy shit, why would you just throw a bomb or something? Why are you driving a bomb? And that's all. What I always wondered. And it's like, yeah, you can talk about car bomb. I mean, it's if someone's driving a car bomb, they want to die in the car bomb. I'm sorry, I respect your wishes. I won't do that anymore.
Okay, so how does it go?
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go.
Downtown.
Maybe you know some little places to go to where they never close.
Downtown.
So there is okay, back to it. There's a video of all this happening. Do you
Yes.
watch that, right, Bryce? So you see
Yeah.
from the police officers who are on the scene, they arrive on the scene and you see them kind of poking around the corner, and you see the RV, and they're walking up, and you can hear the thing, and then boom, blammo, kaboom,
Explosion.
bazumba,
Yeah,
explosion.
that's right. Big well, I will be real. Not that big of an explosion.
Yeah, it wasn't that big, but it explodes at about 6:29 a.m. Second Avenue, Arts District, obliterated.
Bye-bye.
It actually was pretty devastated, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, so again, I've seen car bombs go off, and as car bombs go, not that bad of a car bomb.
But here's the thing I'll say: arts districts,
For an
not
arts
great
district,
infrastructure,
and for an arts district to be car bombed, which I hope never ever happens,
and
ever,
we would never suggest
Never.
would happen to any of our
Never.
listeners, for that to happen
never.
at all.
A lot of debris.
A lot of debris. Well, that's what I'm saying. Poor infrastructure, arts district, brick building.
And there was much ado about the bomb being near an AT&T transmission building.
Yes. So before we get into that and some of the theories that emerged, I do want to just go over a couple more details, a little bit more seriously about the event.
Yeah.
So we mentioned that no one was killed except for the bomber. There were about 3 minor injuries. No one was seriously hurt. I think that one of the officers lost hearing for maybe for a little bit, because they were so close to the bomb. But it didn't end up. It really didn't injure anybody. And when I mean, some people have done some analysis on it, and it seems pretty clear that actually the entire I don't know, the entire event, attack, I don't even know what you want to call this, was basically painstakingly designed to minimize total injury.
That's really the impression that you're sort of forced to have from this, because I mean, an hour countdown of blaring there is a bomb here. I mean, it's almost like from a movie or something. I mean, Christ.
Well,
It's not something that usually happens when people set off bombs with the intent to injure people.
it's very Die Hard,
Yes. Yeah.
which, that's what I'm saying. My man, he knows. Christmas
Yeah.
movie.
And it's technically a Hanukkah thing, because it's a Hollywood movie. But it counting down, getting the cops there, getting everyone to put them away. I think in the original, right after this happened, I think a lot of people were really horny to be this was an FBI plot, or this may be a false flag or something like that. I am not getting any vibes like that from this.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to mention 2 other things about the minimizing casualties is that, or one other thing, is that actually, you mentioned that the bomb wasn't that big. It seems very clear that, I mean, it really wasn't that big. If this dude wanted to damage a ton of shit, he would not have done the bomb this way. And it seems that, if we want to get into who he is and stuff about him, it seems like he actually knew a decent amount about making bombs.
Yeah.
From friends and kind of some personal history and things that he's told people. But it seems clear that this was not this wasn't I don't think they've released like what the explosives were, but I don't think it was like C4 or something that would have like
No.
inflicted like mass damage where it, it like kind of radiates out. I don't totally know how bombs work, but like, creates like electro waves that
Yeah.
create more mass damage. Like it seems like this was like propane or something.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I get from it too, because it did not. I mean, it did a lot of damage in for a not that crazy of a bomb, but like it's not like he blew up, leveled a city block or anything like that.
Right.
And like with vehicle-borne IEDs, like car bombs people are driving, that I've seen, those things can level a city block, like totally demolish every building on there.
Yeah.
And
not
so
to mention
this-
what it could do to an arts district.
Exactly. My God. Can you imagine all the fucking crystal shops?
Oh my God.
All of the
gallery walls.
galleries.
The paintings askew.
Jesus Christ. Let's not talk about it.
So you mentioned that all these people kind of came out and they were like, oh my God, is this a false flag? Is this, what's going on? So people also were, I mean, everyone kind of was hoping, it seemed, that this was a bigger thing than it was.
Yes.
Which I think is a little bit like, from a sociological perspective or whatever, pretty interesting.
Mark 2 on the N+1 kill list there.
Yeah. But we should say that like the FBI, leaked to whatever the press or the local police, whoever was leaking it, was that he was apparently like a conspiracy guy. He was maybe, I'm not going to say that he was a TrueAnon listener because I don't want to say that.
Uh-huh.
He could have been.
Well, I know him. But yeah, it's there's basically no indication. I mean, it's possible that it we don't know, it could be true, but from what the public, and including myself and Liz in that, is there's no indication that this was due to 5G or anything like that.
Yeah,
Or
that's like what people were saying.
Yeah.
Seems like hoping.
The police chief did come out and say that he has been hanging out with a lot of crackheads and drug addicts. And I will say, as somebody who has spent considerable amounts of time embedded as a journalist in the crackhead and drug addict community, who is doing research for newspapers and such, a lot of people in those communities believe all kinds of crazy things because they don't sleep.
Yeah. I mean, we
they're on
should say, like,
drugs.
somewhat, he mailed a couple packages that friends received, like, a couple days after the bombing. I think they were postmarked, like, 2 days before the bomb went off. And, each package, it sounds like each package contained about 9 typed pages, with each having 2 thumb drives in them that all, allegedly had videos on the drives. It sounds like they were YouTubes, as opposed to like home videos. And apparently the letters, they have like a cover letter, and it starts, "Hey dude, you will never believe what I found in the park." Ominous.
My friend George once found a revolver in Dolores Park.
I found $20 in a park once.
I found $5 yesterday and gave it to a lady on the street.
That's nice.
Yeah, I thought she had dropped it.
So it continues. "The knowledge I have gained is immeasurable. I now understand everything, and I mean everything, from who, what we really are, to what the known universe really is." And apparently he signed the cover letter Julio, which is very weird, but he has a dog named Julio? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. I guess apparently he, like on another page, he said that the moon landing and 9/11 have so many anomalies they are hard to count, which
Correct.
I gotta say, absolutely correct.
Absolutely correct. I know. My impression of this guy is that he's like a lot of people that I have known throughout my life and spent considerable amounts of time with, in that he's basically like disconnected in any way from sort of the mainstream and sort of exists on the fringes and margins. And I mean, once you get really into drugs, or not even necessarily really into drugs, once you just kind of fall into like a certain segment of society, I guess like I guess you could call it lumpen or whatever. A lot of these things become like this dude sounds like a lot of people I've met and I've known in my life. And it's fucked up. I mean, rarely do those people, people talk about, that's the other thing, is like, in my years in the drug business as a purchaser, I've met a lot of people who talk about doing a lot of things. You'll hear people being like, "Oh, I'll do this and this and this and this." People never do it, and I've known people who like work on projects similar to what this guy has been working on, not bombs or anything like that, but tinkering on stuff, always talking about doing shit, and they never do it. And I guess this is what happens when they do.
So we didn't mention his name. His name is Anthony Quinn Warner, and he was. It sounds like a self-employed computer consultant. That can mean a lot of different things. Apparently, he was once licensed to install burglar alarms. It sounds like he had a lot of different jobs. The media's really latched onto the conspiracy thing. I guess he had told people that he, believed that there were lizard people and that there were like switches inside of people's brains that they could turn on and off in order to like cloak their lizardness. That's when you've gone too far, I gotta say. I draw the line at lizard people, and I believe a lot of crazy shit.
Me too, because it's like, why would they even have to hide it?
Yeah.
Plenty of people look like lizards.
There's some weird personal stuff in his background, too. I don't know how much we want to get into this.
I do want to mention that his girlfriend, well, it's a little more complicated than that. His lawyer, Ray Throckmorton III, called the police about a year ago, alleging two things. One, that his girlfriend, Anthony Quinn Warner's girlfriend, was sitting on her porch with a bunch of guns saying she was going to kill herself. And two, that Warner was making a bomb. And that these were somehow connected in some way. And I do remember, I read the transcript of the call saying, the lawyer saying that there was kind of more to the bomb thing rather than the suicide thing. Police come, basically 5150 the girlfriend. She's just sitting there on her porch with some guns next to her. I think some of Warner's guns. And then they go to Warner's residence and they see an RV in the back and a bunch of cameras hooked up to a security system in the front, and they don't have a warrant, so they leave. I'll be real with you. Cops probably get calls like this all the fucking time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem all that surprising to me.
Yeah. And so it is like, I think there was a lot of hay made about like, she was arrested, 5150. They knew. But it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they did, but I doubt they did. Yeah, so that's just, I just think that's a little interesting backstory there. I also really just wanted to say the name Roy Throckmorton III.
No, it's Ray.
Excuse me.
Ray Throckmorton III. It sounds like he married Angelina Jolie when she was 13 or something.
It sounds like a guy in a Harry Crews book or something. Listen, Ray, if you are listening to this, I extend you an invitation to come on the podcast and talk about really whatever you'd like.
Yeah, just tell us your life story. Hey, who's Ray Throckmorton II?
I'm interested in why you didn't go with the junior system.
And who's the first?
Well, that'd be the senior.
So you mentioned the 5G thing, and that didn't just come out of the blue, by the way. We didn't mention like a big thing, which was that it wasn't just that this was in an arts district, but that it was actually right outside an AT&T building. And this actually ended up disrupting like so much AT&T service.
Yes.
It was right outside one of AT&T's like critical wireless hubs, for the entire Southeast, and the Southeast wireless network was basically like shut down for a couple days. Yeah, and I think it's called FirstNet, which is like AT&T's like first responder network. Yeah, that apparently is just like a total like boondoggle money fucking sink. Oh yeah, scam. Do you know? Thing. I was reading about it, and they have these things. They have these blimps that they're using. This is like some turn of the century fucking like fake Tesla, as in Nikolai, not Elon, like crazy bullshit. Yeah, they got flying blimps that they call cows. What? Yeah.
Those are both names that people call fat people.
Yeah, they call them flying cows that are there to be like first responder satellites.
Oh, baby. What?
Yeah, it's total bullshit. It's like some real, like, I don't know.
Well, that makes sense because a couple of flying cows were shot down with surface-to-air missiles outside of Memphis.
Remember in Twister when the cow like flies across the
Of course,
car?
my
Classic
dad.
scene.
I made my dad rent that movie like once a week.
And everyone
as
was
a
like,
kid.
how did they do that?
Yeah, how did they?
Movie magic. Anyway, okay, so the backup generators for this in the AT&T building go down. All of Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama cell service interruptions for like 3 days. 911 call centers can't take calls. Phone lines are down. Internet is down for the cops. So God knows what they couldn't look at their blogs.
How
or
to
whatever.
hit wife better? Best point of contact, face-to-face wife. How hit wife?
Nashville airport had to ground all flights for 3 hours, which is a big
I
red
know.
flag. That's my like tinfoil hat red flag is when the airports have to down flights. That's when I think perhaps something else is going on, but I don't know about here, I gotta say. Like even in Atlanta there were interruptions, which is like, I mean, Atlanta's like 250 miles away from Nashville.
I don't really understand that either. I'll tell you what. Not a big wires guy. So you go to these substations. There's wires going here. There's guys going there. I'm like, why do you need this for Atlanta? I don't
What's
get
a
it.
substation?
Well, it's like a station, but of a lesser variety. Like there's the station, you got the substation.
Anyway, okay, so people really latched onto this being right outside of AT&T, and they were saying, he was targeting AT&T. This is about 5G. We've seen this like rash of 5G kind of infrastructure attacks over the past year. I mean, really, like it's been happening for the past like 3-4 years, but really ramped up with the pandemic. And, everyone kind of freaking about COVID.
Well, I don't understand it because I use my cell phone all the time and I have COVID. So it's like, I'm sorry, that's like a 1-to-1 thing.
Yeah. You got proof is in the pudding, my friend.
And that's all I can eat because I've lost 100 IQ points since using my phone all the time.
We actually did an episode. If you guys haven't listened, we did an episode on 5G a while ago with Jathan Sadowski, and I would recommend you guys listen to that. You can hear us talk about 5G.
Did you hear the way that Polish name just slipped off her tongue like that? There was she's not even looking at any notes or nothing. Incredible.
But I do want to say that, May 2020, DHS released a report. They said they saw an increase of 5G related attacks, like throughout the country, and that people should kind of like expect to see more. I think by people they mean law enforcement, not necessarily like us. I think that they said that it was a lot because of like COVID and stuff. My theory is that people that have issues with 5G aside from COVID's like trutherism, the feds are kind of like trying to tie it all together to make it seem a lot more crazier than maybe is warranted. But they said violent extremists have drawn from misinformation campaigns online that claim wireless infrastructure is deleterious to human health and helps spread COVID-19, resulting in a global effort by like-minded individuals to share operational guidance and justification for conducting attacks against 5G infrastructure, some of which have already prompted arson and physical attacks against cell towers in several U.S. states.
Well, the weird thing about this, too, is that there's apparently this source that the FBI has on Warner who says that he blamed 5G for his dad's cancer, which doesn't make sense because, I mean, well, first of all, I'm pretty sure this informant is full of shit because I've read a couple of stories that have talked about, like, people, talking about a Tony Warner, some real estate agent who's, like, talking about a guy he knows. One says that he wasn't into 5G conspiracy stuff at all. He never mentioned it whatsoever. And this other guy apparently says that, he was building a bomb because of his father's cancer, maybe. But he's been building a bomb for like a year.
Yeah. Well, since December 2019, there have been at least 5 arson attacks targeting cell towers just in Memphis alone, which is very strange. Yeah, and also there was like additionally 14 other attacks in Western Tennessee. Tennessee is like a weird hotbed for 5G, anti-5G activity, which if you live in Tennessee and you know why, let me know because I'm interested in this.
I've spent some time in Memphis before. It's a weird
like
place.
Memphis.
Yeah.
It's cool. But I'm just wondering, you guys got anti-5G fever? I want to know about it.
Yeah. Let me know. Is it like maybe it's like a garage rock thing?
I mean, we did talk about a little bit about this on the episode we did on the spy cops scandal in the UK, but like late 20th century, early, like kind of like early 90s anti-technology global trade attack stuff was really big and really common. And like pre 9/11 was like the biggest terrorist threat in the US. I think it was like between 1996 and 2002. You had like Earth Liberation Front, Animal Liberation Front. They were targeting like research labs, multinationals, logging companies. There's like, it's like 600, 700 arsons, sabotage attacks. I mean, this was like a huge thing. And they would always focus on property not hurting people. And I think that's why, kind of like the memory of this stuff is one of the reasons why people kind of focus like, oh, maybe this is the return of this,
Well, there was those attacks on internet infrastructure in 2013 in Silicon Valley, which I've always been really, they've always really fascinated me because the way they're described by the press and by police officials is basically like a crack team of crack shots. Firing AR-15s at internet infrastructure solely to take it out, and no one took credit. Now, I've always been wondering, I've always wondered rather, was that maybe like a sort of blue team, red team thing by the government to see like a stress test or whatever. But if you actually did do it, then congratulations, because that's what I've always wondered. Because I and people I know that have knowledge about technology are well aware that I've always asked, is there some place where I can turn the internet off? And I've never gotten a super clear answer on that, except for those 2013 attacks, because they really fucked up the internet for a lot of people, for like all Silicon Valley companies.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if this stuff becomes more prevalent in the future. So here's the thing about AT&T, though. Because Anthony Quinn Warner, I don't think was targeting AT&T because, he could have targeted the giant AT&T building several blocks from where he was.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention that. So it was like an AT&T call center that he was outside of, but there's like the biggest AT&T HQ like 3 blocks away.
Yeah. Like
that's
it's
like
with a
famous.
sign on it. Yes.
They call it like the Batman.
They do?
That's Gotham or something. Yeah. Because it looks like Batman.
Oh, it's like one of those kind of buildings.
Yeah.
Some
Stupid.
Gargoyles.
Yeah.
They really gotta bring.
No,
back
it has
gargoyles.
it has like 2 points on it, so it looks like the Batman bat mask.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
I don't know what's going on in Nashville.
I've never been there. Probably never gonna go. I'm just kidding. We're having a live show there in the summer. Anyways, here in San Francisco, there is a lot of AT&T stuff because we're always ticking and tapping away on the computer. And there is a building downtown, down on Folsom Street, which is the home of the Folsom Street Fair. Although this is a little further down towards the water. There is an AT&T center with a room in it, and that room is called 641A. And you can't, if you work at AT&T, it's very difficult to get in there. In fact, I believe only a couple of employees, at least at the time that this came out, had access to that room. However, some non-AT&T workers had access to that room because those non-AT&T workers work for a little telecoms communication company called the NSA. So here's what I'm going to do. And listeners, I want you to give me as much leeway as you can give me. To preface this, I'm stupid. Okay, I agree. I'm smart. And I'm much smarter than most people who listen to this.
Absolutely.
But I'm as my parents and teachers would say, a different kind of smart, Brace. No, don't worry about it. Those are just numbers. You don't have to. No, you get to go to the other high school. They don't have homework and you can smoke there. Although they took out the ashtrays in my last year there, but you could still smoke. You just didn't have an ashtray. I didn't really get with that. Anyways, the way the internet works is like this. I can't believe I have to do this. I practiced this yesterday. It's not going to work.
No.
There is this thing called bandwidth. And you know when you're like, hey, like, Monica, can you come help me, like, with my lizard shit at home? Because, like, all the lizards are loose. I can't get them back in. And she's like, Brace, I have super low bandwidth today, and I actually can't do that. And she, like, kind of upspeaks at the end, and you're like, I'm going to fucking kill you and your boyfriend. Like, you have to come over here. The lizards are everywhere. Apparently the internet's like that, too. So, like, AT&T is an internet service provider, in addition to a lot of other things. And so when I use AT&T internet, which I don't, by the way, I use the internet the cartels made. I'm the only American consumer of it. But, you know, AT&T, their fucking network gets all so fucking crazy. Everyone's like, oh my God, dude, I have to look at the internet. And like, but everyone's looking at it at the same time. They sort of offload some of that onto other ISPs, and that happens in reverse too. Like, other internet service providers kind of offload their extra bandwidth through AT&T. This is called, as far as I can understand it, and again, there is this could be totally incorrect, but I read about it a few times. This is called peering.
Horrible name. Sounds dirty.
Yes. Well, and it's also
Sounds like
double
something you search
entendre.
on Pornhub. You know what I'm saying?
I actually don't know what you're saying. Not familiar with that website. Just do memory. Pure memory.
Pure memory of your web searches.
Pure memory of the last time I looked at porn and before my ISP blocked it because it is a cartel ISP. And they're like, "Why? You're just supposed to be Googling
Okay.
what is
Peering.
a kilo?" Anyways, peering is when the things I just explained happened.
Yes.
And other foreign and domestic, saying that makes me feel like a national security official, other foreign and domestic internet service providers also peer with AT&T. So there's a huge portion, and people can't see what I'm doing, but I'm making sort of a flapping motion with my
I
arms
don't know
for some
what that
reason.
is.
It's none of your fucking business what it is. B word. And I almost, if I had said bitch right
thought
there,
you were
it would
gonna
sound a little
drop
too
it.
hard. I'll drop it right now. Baby. Yeah, fucking bitch. Let me finish talking about this. This is really hard for me, and you're not making it any easier. I'm gonna fucking do it. So, is this loaded? Yes. So
Put it down. Please put it down.
putting it at the computer, at the AT&T itself. So anyways, a huge portion of internet of the world goes through these AT&T facilities, right? Because we got these fiber optic cables underneath the ocean, like the fucking octopuses going around there. All the fucking data going here, there. What is that? Oh my God, I can't read this fucking email. It's in Urdu. Like, oh, Google Translate Urdu. He's saying my dick's small, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, there are only 8 AT&T facilities in the U.S. that give access directly to this data route that carries a ton of internet traffic, again, foreign and domestic. The NSA realizes this is a great idea. We can fucking tap into that. And with their long-term partners, start going into these facilities and building these rooms and these specialized rooms. They have secret rooms in 8 of these AT&T facilities. This is all part of something called Operation Fairview, which we'll get into in a little bit more later. AT&T's code name within that, I really like this, Lithium. Anyways, they apparently established this in around 2003 to monitor internet traffic, and they say that they were able to monitor about 10% of domestic internet traffic through all of these. I guarantee you that there is by now, and probably back then, a way for the NSA and AT&T to monitor closer to 100.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like just take a photocopy of it, right? If they wanted. The problem, from my understanding, the problem is always just the analyzing the data, not collecting it, but actually like sorting through all of it.
Well, they do that in South Korea. It's like how TV shows like do a lot of the animation there. They just have a bunch of guys there do it. Well, they have these different. So, I mean, again, I'm not going to get too into this because I don't really understand a lot of it because internet stuff makes my fucking head hurt. But they collect all this information. They send it to NSA HQ. They have these different programs there, a bunch of different ones. The 2 I know more about are Marina and Mainway. Marina, I guess, is where they store this is the code name to the program. That's where they store the sort of raw metadata. Mainway is a little different. That can do like quality control and sorting. I think in a lot of things, they basically are searching for keywords. So like if, for instance, I'm like, I finally accept the fan request to do transcripts of our shows, which I'll never do for literally
Have
this
people been asking
exact
for that?
reason. No. But like 2 people when we first started, but I don't know how to do it, so I'm not gonna. But one of the reasons we shouldn't do that is because if we do that and they hear the words car bomb, car bomb, car bomb, car bomb, car bomb, car bomb, arts district, then their little fucking system gets all horny, its fucking nipples get all fucked up looking, and it looks at me and it glares and it corners me and it pushes me and it says, Brace, you're under arrest.
I think that is how it works.
Exactly. And like, listen, I get it. I get that there's a more technical explanation for this. I understand that some fucking nerd on some fucking TED Talk ass looking YouTube fucking thing or at a conference or at fucking the internet or something could tell you how this works exactly, but it does not matter to me. What does matter to me is that the government has secret rooms in the fucking AT&T facilities where they look at every single fucking thing that you do on the internet that you're forced to use through every fucking facet of your life, from fucking talking to girls to getting fucking groceries to buying fucking bullets to looking up how Anthony Quinn Warner made his fucking car bomb. And that's the thing, I don't need to know where all the widgets and wires go, baby. I'm just telling you.
We should say, I mean, we are focusing, all the telecom companies partner with the government, but AT&T really is a special case. Mm-hmm. My God. Now, I feel terrible because I actually do have AT&T.
Well, wait,
Look.
can I say something really quick? Just one sentence?
What?
They really knock it out of the park. That's a little thing about AT&T Park.
Oh, because of baseball.
Little
Is that-
little ball game there.
Oh, wait. Did baseball happen? Wait, did the World Series happen?
Yeah.
All right. Well, don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
You didn't hear about
was it-
that?
Did the Dodgers win?
No, Liz. It was the first time a Japanese team won.
Okay. Anyway, so no, AT&T really does have like a special relationship with the NSA. That is, I think it kind of like puts like Verizon even to shame, which is like another big dog.
They should mention that in their ads.
Well, they mentioned that in their ads in Washington.
Yes, they
we'll
do.
Say that,
Yes, they
which
do.
We could get into. But they've been working with the government, I mean, pretty much since when? I mean, I don't know, 85, although it's been really, I mean, much earlier than that.
Well, I mean, the government basically gave AT&T's parent company and Verizon, I think's parent company, Ma Bell, a fucking monopoly for like 60 fucking years before that. So one could say that they've been working with the government real close, basically since their inception.
So we should say, I mean, yeah, AT&T is like a bit different than the other of the big four, the Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T. Those are kind of the big telecoms that we're talking about. But AT&T has basically like the unique power to extract information from its metadata because it actually retains so much of it as opposed to the other companies. So AT&T as a company owns about 3/4 of all U.S. landline switches, and it's the second largest share of the nation's wireless infrastructure and cell phone towers. And unlike other companies, it retains cell tower data going back to like 2008, which is like way longer than any other company. It even like invented its own programming language in order to mine its own records for surveillance purposes.
CP plus.
That's what it's called?
No, that's just a joke about the words child porn.
You think I would have gotten that? And yet,
I didn't think you would,
when
but I didn't think you would ask me to elaborate.
School, there was I didn't study computer programming or whatever, but there was a textbook that was called C++ or U++.
Oh, look at that.
I thought that was very cute.
They didn't have computers in my high school.
Just ashtrays until they did.
Yeah, they really they really didn't though. It was I mean, not a lot of programmers came out of that thing.
Because you're 70 years old.
Yes. Yes. I mean, and here's the thing is like AT&T basically like embeds the NSA in it, and AT&T does the same. I don't even know how I phrased that the first time. So what I'm saying here is that they're both embedded in each other, and it's kind of hard to separate them at all because there was a lot to do about, maybe the NSA is stopping and the NSA is changing. Any shit you read about the government changing or stopping or tweaking its surveillance programs, they are usually just offloading some of that stuff onto these companies themselves. So okay, maybe the NSA isn't storing all of your metadata for 10 years to look through it. But their their partners in private industry absolutely are. I mean, AT&T assisted the NSA in wiretapping the UN, which stands for United Nations.
The thing too is that like you said that they're like kind of like it's hard to separate the two. That's very true. Like this isn't just a contract. Like when we think of like a public-private partnership, like the NSA budget with AT&T in 2013 was twice as large as any other partnership beneath it.
I think Verizon was the second biggest at like 118 whatever million, and AT&T was like 280.
Yeah, and even like in the internal documents, like a lot of this stuff is coming from the Snowden trove, or however you want to call it.
Tranche.
Oh yeah, the tranche. No, but even like the NSA even refers to it as a partnership, not like a contractual relationship. So it's really like, it's like they're co-producing, man.
Listen, like I love being in a creative space with these people. I love being a creative. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get stuck on a loop here if you don't interrupt me. I love working in a co-working space with AT&T. It's been one of the greatest things in my life. I love living in this house with them in LA and being able to just fucking vibe when we want to. We wear sweaters together.
Dude, those like COVID party houses are so crazy. Just as a side note before we keep going.
Yeah, man. The video I watched, I think I told you about this, is like all these like 17-year-old like influencers, but they're also like OnlyFans. I didn't understand. Did you see that?
They OnlyFans, but then they do all the other influencing, I think.
So they're like, but these were like male gender.
Yeah.
people.
So is there like a big male contingent on OnlyFans?
I guess so. I mean, because it's like. Yeah, I mean there must be. I mean, according to this thing, it's like not only. I mean, they're influencers. Yeah. Liz and I watched all these videos of like parties in LA, which I usually go to, but I haven't been due to my Chevrolet breaking down. And like all of these people were named like Instagram influencer / OnlyFans person.
Yeah, and they had a horrible name. Like there was like Clayton Tershaw.
Yeah. But in one of the videos, and they're all like 18, and in one of the videos, I paused it, and in the background is a guy named Father Damon, who is famous. He's like a 55-year-old guy who ran a sex club in LA called Sanctum. And I'm like, okay, he's hanging out with these 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids.
This is a great sign.
Sounds great.
Sounds like a case for TrueAnon.
I did DM him on Instagram about it. I've not heard back, but I've DM'd him a lot on Instagram because I'm trying to get him arrested.
Okay, wait. So back to AT&T. So, like we're saying, this is like a very like fruitful partnership. Collaborative environment with the government. This this is no more evident than in what was called Operation Hemisphere.
Yes.
Which started in, I guess it's like at least 2007, although it's probably much earlier than that. But we should say that Hemisphere wasn't even really like simply just a partnership like any of the other kind of operations that the NSA was running, but this is like a product that AT&T basically developed, marketed, sold in tandem with the DEA, and they're actually like it seems like this has been completely memory hold, or like what people have retained from the sort of era of like surveillance reporting, we'll say, which was kind of like late Bush to early Obama.
yeah,
if
yeah.
we're doing it that way, early to mid Obama. This has been kind of like memory hold what they were doing with the DEA, but it was a much larger scale than some of the stuff that was happening with the NSA. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, the NSA was logging 1.8 billion phone calls a day. The DEA and AT&T were logging 4 billion per day. And so it's like a scale several times larger. And you might think like, oh, well, it's the DEA. Like, first of all, the DEA are the fucking biggest drug runners in the fucking world. But like it is, I mean, this is apparently a program that is supposed to be able to tell if somebody has like a burner phone or if somebody replaces their old phone or something like that. But like logging 4 billion calls a day is fucking insane. And it's not like the NSA, where the NSA can only ostensibly go back 5 years into call records. These guys can go back to 1984 with call records. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, they have an insane amount of stuff they can look at. I mean, this shit was basically unknown. And there's a lot less known about this than the NSA stuff just in general. A lot of this is from a guy named Drew Hendricks, who got it from FOIA requests. He got a bunch of slides. And according to the slides he got, I read these slides, the DHS, they have this one called protecting the program. And if they're ever asked to refer to any of the like way that they got this information, they just have to refer to AT&T subpoenas. And this goes way beyond the scale of stuff allowed by the Patriot Act or anything like that. And we know essentially nothing about it. I mean, they just say that they're looking at drug dealers' phones, but even in their own fucking slides, all of the victories that they claim are about like, we got like some cocaine and three AK-47s in like Tucson. And like they're sort of busts that you would expect like local cops to get. It's nothing really insane at all. But it's just massive surveillance.
Yeah, it's not even just drug stuff too. It's like they're looking at like Medicaid fraud. It's like really, really crazy stuff. That basically it sounds like they're surveilling and then using that surveillance to dictate what crimes they're looking at.
Exactly. And that's the same with all this. I mean, it's like the NSA stuff is, oh, we're looking at terrorists, but like, no, dude, they're just looking at everything.
Yeah.
And they're never going to stop. Like, no reform is going to stop this. No one has ever actually in any real way or even in any minor way tried to impede on the power that these guys have.
Well, it's also like the definition of like terrorist gets defined by whatever the surveillance shows people.
Yeah,
like shows
yes.
them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, AT&T is just they spend so much money like lobbying the government and like working in tandem with the government. I mean, it pays off for them, right? They get these huge contracts, they get all this stuff, they get the tax cuts that they've always wanted. They spent like 16.8 million on lobbying federal officials just in 2017 alone, which is huge.
Yeah.
They were just granted that massive merger with Time Warner just a couple years ago. That they were really worried about, so much so that remember there was the whole scandal of them hiring Michael Cohen. Remember?
Classic.
Putting him on retainer because they thought it would like ingratiate them to the Trump admin.
Well, I mean, did it?
Well, no, because that's what's interesting is that Trump DOJ was actually not going to grant the merger, but the courts, of course, were, because the U.S. government doesn't give a fuck.
Classic. Love the courts.
Yeah, you gotta love them.
So you might be thinking, damn, all this shit sounds really illegal, right? You'd be like, damn, that's crazy. Like they can just like look at all your stuff. Like doesn't that sound like a violation of the Fourth Amendment and like maybe even the First Amendment? Who gives a fuck? All these fucking companies have immunity.
Yeah, that's what's I mean, the telecoms, they got a real big gift from the U.S. government. It was like 2008. They get like crazy immunity, and I'm just gonna say it. They got an Epstein-like deal.
Yes, they do, because it's retroactive immunity.
Yeah. So before we get into what it is, I just want to give this like little history of it because I think it's important to understand like what's crazy is that basically after the Church Committee, right? So in the wake of the Church Committee, which finds that the U.S. government is spying on a bunch of political dissidents, on, in like the black radical community and you know communists, etc., whatever.
Girls that thinks are hot.
Yeah, totally. In you know locker rooms, etc.
Jane Fonda.
Basically, Congress ended up passing a bunch of laws in order to make sure that the telecoms didn't partner with the government to spy on citizens. And so it's interesting because basically what they did was they wrote in these immunity clauses in order to say like, okay, we're not going to prosecute you if you make good faith mistakes. Like you're partnering and you don't know that the government's doing this, right? So because we don't want you working with the government to spy on people. And so what's funny is that like basically post 9/11, you know, you get these, you know, way before Snowden, you get these first reports in the New York Times, like around 2005, that come out that the Bush admin is partnering with the telecoms to collect data, to spy on people. And, you know, this was like the early stuff, right? This isn't the Five Eyes stuff or any of the kind of PowerPoint Snowden docs, right? So people start suing the telecom companies because they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously there's like mass targeting of Arab Americans happening after 9/11. I mean, there's so much domestic spying. And this was like really, this was pretty unheard of. So the telecom companies, what they do is they say, hey, wait a second. We have immunity.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't touch us. We got immunity.
Suck my fucking dick.
And then what the courts do is they say, this is actually kind of baller, I will say. And everyone knows I hate the courts. The courts come back and they say, no, you would have to be an idiot if you thought any of this was not egregious spying. Like, this is so over the top and obvious that you absolutely knew what you were doing, that your immunity doesn't cover this. And so the telecoms are like, fuck, what do we do? So they freak out and they start petitioning the government and they're like, hey, Bush admin, you got to help us out. We can't go to jail. This is crazy.
Give me a little sugar. Give me a little sugar.
Hey, we worked with you. You told us we'd be cool. Why aren't we cool? They basically threatened to withdraw all their partnerships with the government, which is like basically kind of like a capital strike in like a funny way. And they throw like billions and billions of dollars at Congress lobbying. Funny enough, Verizon, you know who they get to represent themselves?
Oh, tell it to me.
William Barr.
There we go.
Yeah. So Billy Barr, as we know, former Attorney General for Donald Trump, also former official in Daddy Bush's administration, and of course,
speaking of daddy, his father, of course, was the first person to hire Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes. So yeah, he's general counsel at Verizon, petitioning his old boss, W. Bush, to help him out, help out the telecoms. They put pressure on Congress. They put pressure on the federal government, and boom, you get this crazy. This was really controversial at the time, right? I mean, you get a crazy law granting all of the telecoms retroactive immunity for like...
So cool.
Yeah, and this was, I should say, this is right after... I mean, Congress was passing retroactive immunity clauses left and right, because remember they also passed a law that gave all CIA officers retroactive immunity if they could be found to be dealing in war crimes?
Yes.
I mean, it's like fucking... it is really, really crazy. And this was a big deal, too, I remember, because, this was right before Obama was elected. This was like July 2008. And Obama, at the time, Senator Obama, after he had been community organizer, Obama, of course, Senator Obama had come out and said, like, oh, we're going to fight this. The telecoms can't get this, blah, 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 blah. July rolls around. Senator Obama's like, maybe it's not that we're going to deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
No one could force the vote on him. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Then fucking, of course, he gets in office and he's like, this NSA thing, as a constitutional lawyer, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
All good, brother.
Yeah. So the telecoms, I mean, yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're smooth operators, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they are slick. And so when we talk about a guy like Anthony Quinn Warner, a guy who basically committed suicide in a spectacular fashion, I will say he is doing more against the telecom industry than any of these fucking crooks in Congress. That is in no way an endorsement of what he did. In fact, we find all things that are explosive to be abhorrent.
I forgot to mention, I want to say one thing, is that I have a theory. You ready?
Oh, always.
So you remember Serial?
The podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was NPR propaganda for AT&T surveillance.
To be like, oh, look, the fucking
They're like,
cell
oh,
tower things.
Yeah, they're like, oh, damn. If AT&T had better fucking surveillance, we could show that Adnan should marry Sarah Koenig.
Yeah. You think he ever like put his hand on her knee underneath like the visitor table?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, Sarah.
You know what? Remember
can't
the
remember
whole,
anything about
you know
podcasts.
what was the other thing that happened while we were gone?
What?
Fucking Shkreli, how do you say his
Oh
name?
yeah, what was going on with that? Because I was in the throes of not sleeping.
Yeah, very Sarah Koenig. By the way, her stepdad, CIA.
Oh yeah, actually,
Literally, this
Yeah,
also
like-
bolsters my theory. Also,
was actually the
NPR.
CIA. Yeah. What's the nation of America, where the CIA is?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what was the Shkreli guy? He's just like some journalist falls in love with him.
Yeah, she leaves her husband.
Classic.
She's a journalist. Oof.
Oof. Rough.
Falls in love with him. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like he's calling her back.
He cuts her off.
Sounds like she's trying to get a book deal.
Sounds like he's trying to get some nookie in the pussy. What's nookie mean? Does that just mean vagina?
I
Or does
think
that mean
so.
the act
I
of...
think-
Okay.
Yeah. Did it
Well-
all for the nookie.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what that means.
I don't know if anyone did.
Yeah, I gotta say, if you're hanging out with that guy, I get it's like a funny meme. You gotta go to a doctor or something. You're mentally ill.
That being said, I would really like to talk to him.
Yeah, oh yeah, Shkreli, if you want to come on the show, we'll talk to you.
I absolutely.
But-
You know what I'm a big fan of? His blog.
What?
He's a great blogger. Everyone should
I-
check out his blog.
I don't read blogs.
He's a good blogger. It's like a return to the medium. He
Yeah,
understands
yeah.
the form of blogging.
Is he still
Hits it
blogging?
out of the park. Occasionally, yeah.
How does he blog from prison?
They get internet time.
Oh. Well, he also probably can send.
You
a
know
letter
he's
and
going to
make
be
someone
out
type it
soon.
up. Yeah, I know.
Get this. How do you say his name? I always say it
Shkreli?
wrong and you make fun of me.
Shkreli?
Shkreli?
You say Shkreli. No,
I
it's
do.
Shkreli.
Shkreli. Martin Skrillex will be exiting the old Gray Bar Hotel for the last time,
Who's
And-
gal?
entering Mayor Andrew Yang's New York City.
If that happens, Yang's got to put Shkreli in charge of prison reform.
That man, I mean, talk about a glow up.
Which one?
Shkreli.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Entering the Yangasons of Manhattan.
Incredible. I mean, when Shkreli went in, Yang was barely even a blip on the radar. Now look at him. Yang is the most popular politician in the United States, according to polls.
I mean, he's going to turn around.
somewhere,
He's going
I'm
to turn
sure.
that island around. Mm-hmm. It's going to be
yeah.
incredible what he does. Gotham
he
will
is
rise.
going to be the Tulsi Gabbard of New York City.
It's going to be fucking City of London, baby. Let's go. Bring it home.
I'm excited. Bitcoin's going up, so are his odds.
Everyone, this has been lovely.
It has been a pleasure.
I
I'm
really
glad to
missed
be back.
this.
I know. It's good. I'm feeling good. I'm grooving.
Yeah. Maybe a little bumpy to start, but you know what? We got it. We got it
Yeah,
back.
we cut all that stuff out, Liz.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, no, don't worry. They'll never know what you said there. They'll never know who you were talking about.
You think you're
But I
so
can't believe you said that.
clever.
Can't believe you said that. My name is Brace.
My name is Liz. We should say that we are joined by producer Young Chomsky, and on this episode, the music is done by John Vanderslice.
And the podcast? What's it called, baby? Give me the name. What's it called? What are they listening to? They've been listening to this for 1 hour and 20 minutes. What is it called? Tell me the name, Liz.
It's called TrueAnon, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Please what's your name? Jeffrey Epstein. Please what's your name? Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey